What if everything you've been told about success is wrong? Welcome to Successful AF, the podcast for people who've checked all the boxes but still feel empty inside. You know the story. Perfect CV, impressive job title, great salary. Everyone thinks you've got it all figured out. But behind closed doors, you're working yourself into the ground and wondering why success feels so completely exhausting, whilst fantasizing about opening a jam shop in the country. Or perhaps that's just me. I'm Jess West. I'm a career and leadership coach, and I also have a full-time corporate job. I've been exactly where you are, corporate climber by day, anxious mess by night, until I realized the game was rigged from the start. Each week on Successful AF, we are rewriting the rules. No more grinding until you break, no more pretending perfection is a superpower. We'll hear from people who've cracked the code, the ones who've set actual boundaries that stick and learned to succeed without sacrificing their sanity. This isn't your typical lean in and work harder advice. This is about dismantling the achievement trap and building something better. Because here's the truth. You can be successful without being miserable. You can be ambitious without being anxious. And you can finally stop feeling like a fraud in your own life. Ready to get successful AF? Get yourself a cup of tea, take yourself out for a walk, hit subscribe. Today I'm joined by Sonia Tsukagoshi, and I'm really excited to have her here. Sonia is a GP practicing in Finsbury Park, London. Born in the UK to Japanese parents, she's lived an incredibly international life. From medical school in London to surgical training to working in Uganda, Paris, and even teaching young people about health and resilience in Japan. What I loved about this conversation with Sonia is her approach to health. In a world where we're constantly being sold the next magic supplement or biohacking trend, she is advocating for something revolutionary, actually listening to your body. She's launching a business focused on health optimization and longevity, but she's not here to biohack you. It's about what's ethical, sustainable, and natural. As someone who gets 10 to 15 minutes with NHS patients, Sonia is creating a space to really walk people through their health journey with time, patience, and genuine care. Sonia has an incredible gift for cutting through the noise and helping you trust your body's own wisdom. Let's get into today's episode. I'm really, really excited to have you here. Thanks.
No, me too.
Welcome, Sonia.
Hello.
Thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
We're going to dive straight in. Tell us your story.
Well, that's a good question. My parents are Japanese. That's quite important. It's a strong part of my identity. I was born in the UK, so I'm a pretty rare breed. Most Japanese people stay in Japan or they might leave for a couple of years, but they always migrate back. I grew up in London, went to medical school in London, jumped around the UK a little bit for my junior doctor training. I went through surgical training, decided that wasn't for me, and now I'm a GP in Finsbury Park in London.
I actually didn't know you'd done surgical training.
Oh, really?
No. How have we never talked about this?
I don't know, because actually that has been quite an important part of my journey as
Okay.
well. I would say that a lot of my career has been marked by doing lots of like being international. So I kind of headed a committee for internationally minded GPs in the UK. So I did that for 3 years. I was representing young doctors for a European board as well. So I did that for 3 years. I've been to Japan quite a few times, worked there in university for like a year or so. So I've been sort of all over the place. I've lived in Paris, I lived in Uganda. For me, having an international flavour to my career marks it out, I think. And also, my boyfriend's a diplomat as well, so that kind of adds to that sort of thing where we travel a lot. But then also, now this year, I am setting up a business, which is terrifying and daunting, but also quite fun at the same time. And I'm learning lots of new skills. So that's my journey so far.
Tell us about the business.
So this business has taken many iterations. So it started off, as you know, I'm a doctor, I'm a GP, and part of the problem is I don't feel like I have enough time with my patients. I get 10 to 15 minutes. I'm also quite a big advocate for not really leaning on medicine. I really believe in the power of prevention, good nutrition, good movement, good mindset. So I did a coaching diploma with the idea of becoming a health coach. But the longer I'm spending in it, the more I realize that being a doctor is actually quite important to me. So what I'm setting up, and I'm hopefully going to launch in September, is a business where it's more like a health optimization doctor focusing on longevity, but in a way where it's not like a tech bro. It's not like here to have this supplement, have this kind of IV injection. It's much more about, well, what can we do to make you live longer that is ethical, sustainable, and much more natural as well. I also plan to do a diagnosis companion part to it as well. So, for example, if you already have a diagnosis, for example, as if you feel that you're not being heard or maybe you're not getting on with the doctor that you're seeing in the NHS or wherever, then I can walk you through that diagnosis with you. Again, very much on a focus on nutrition, mindset, movement, trying to prevent things and keeping it as natural as possible. So,
That sounds amazing. So, firstly, it's less, it sounds like, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like it's less biohacking and more about actually working with the rhythm of your body and
yes,
understanding
yes,
yourself.
yeah,
I read something today. It was like quite timely that we're having this conversation. It was like if you're feeling anxious,
mm,
there's an app for that, but also there's your breath. And if you're feeling depleted, there's a supplement for that, but there's also sleep.
yes,
We've sort of almost outsourced everything now, or like
yeah.
teaching people how to insource.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Because actually, I'd say in my NHS work, there's a lot of women that I see who don't trust the signals in their body as well. So they're kind of going on crazy diets, crazy supplementation routines. And actually, when you dig deeper, they're like, I kind of knew that's what
Mm.
my body wanted. So it's like trying to get rid of the noise. Also, I'm quite anti, I wouldn't say I was anti-pharma because I think there is always a place for medications and supplements, but I would say that I don't like the sort of the marketing behind pharma and supplements. I do find it quite sad when people are sold a supplement with the idea that it's going to, with the promise that it's going to sort your life out.
Going to
And
change your life. Take this
it's
one
going to,
magic pill, and suddenly you'll
exactly.
be
And
beautiful and rich and all the things you want.
right. And, there is a place for it. There's definitely, and again, even going on the hormonal stuff as well, there's a lot of things on social media where you can tell that these influencers don't really understand the concept of hormones and actually maybe they're trying to sell something or trying to make you. And I really hate the shaming that there is on social media about your
Mm.
body or your health, or if you're not doing this and you're not looking after yourself enough, that kind of thing. And it's actually, I think the body is the most incredible thing in the world. It's like the more I learn about it, the more incredible it is. It is such an amazing designed machine. I don't like the way that a lot of the things don't respect that. I'll probably get a few haters, but we do not need electrolytes in our water. Like our body is perfectly
Ooh,
capable of
interesting.
telling
Okay.
us how thirsty we are. And actually, kind of, there's only a certain subgroup that needs electrolytes. You don't need to buy electrolytes, basically, is my moral of that story.
But that's the thing, right? And it's electrolytes or whatever, but it's such a big business. And I remember the first time we met, actually it was the second time we met. The second time we met was on a yoga retreat we were skiing. Shout out to Emily Murg and her amazing retreats bringing people together. But I am a bit of a hypochondriac, let's be honest. And I remember you saying to me, no, no, no. Like just listen to your body, like what's going on. And I was like, oh yeah. Like, because it's you flick onto Instagram and you're suddenly like, oh God,
Right.
I've got a headache. So I must have some sort of, I don't
Yeah.
know, disease. Actually, no, I just probably need to drink a bit more water.
Right. And you're thirsty.
There you go.
But I have to say, I'm guilty of that as well. Occasionally, I'll be on some sort of social media account and be like, oh my God, I really need this new supplement. And I'll get halfway through putting my bank details in, and I'm like, actually, no, I don't. I really don't. Marketing is just so clever. What drives me is that I think most women are sensible. I just think we're hugely misinformed. And it's about cutting through that noise, explaining the science behind it, explaining the anatomy behind it. This is why I'm not worried. This is what you need to worry about, that kind of thing. And then just walk you through it as well with a bit of time and patience.
I mean, that pragmatism but also the fact that you have the doctor knowledge as well
Yeah.
is huge, right? Is it just women you work with or is it men as well?
So I will work with men. I guess the reason why I say women is because it's just an easier niche. So as I said, as an NHS GP, I will work with everyone. So I
Mm,
am quite familiar with a lot of men's health and women's health as well. So yeah, whoever.
great. Tell us what success means to you.
But again, a really good question.
Thanks.
Yeah. So I don't necessarily know what success means, but I know when I meet someone who I think is successful.
Oh, okay.
So I would say that when I meet someone successful, I would say that they are people who lead a meaningful life.
Mm.
And they're people who are aligned to their own values, not really caring about what other people think, and people who are willing to kind of push out their boundaries to achieve that meaningfulness.
Yeah.
And whether that meaningfulness means like working for a really like worthy cause, or whether that's kind of having like a really loving family, or financially driven, or whatever it is, like whatever it is that makes that person happy, and they've worked really hard to attain that dream. I find that like a definition of success.
I love that. Quite a few of the guests on this pod have talked about health being the definition of success. And I guess for you, I
Mm.
assume because of what you do and all the information that you have, you therefore will always prioritize your health because
Mm.
that's a given for you. But I just find it really interesting that actually so many of us, and it's what we've started talking about, have not really focused on our health because we don't necessarily know what's best for us. We're
Mm.
often told, and I think it's quite similar with success. We're told what success should look like, and it
Mm.
often involves material wealth and not that there's anything wrong with that. We're not encouraged to listen to what
Yes.
actually is important to us. And so I love your definition because it's you're right, like it's about just again, it comes back to it's an inside job, right?
Yes, yeah. And I think that's something that I think I've learned myself throughout time as well. I probably wouldn't say that that's a definition that I've had all my life.
Mm,
I think definitely when I was in my 20s, having just come out of medical school, it was very much like, what do other people think of me? Like, do people think I'm a really great doctor? Am I getting a great appraisal? Like, that was so much more important to me. And really interesting, when I came out of medical school, I find this quite an interesting reflection on myself because I don't fully understand it, but I would never introduce myself as a doctor. And I think part of it was a bit of an imposter syndrome kind of thing. Like I didn't feel qualified to give medical advice,
mm.
even though actually I legitimately qualified from medical school. So it was really bizarre. Like I always felt like I just wasn't good enough, if that
Mm.
makes sense. And therefore I think I really sought external validation. And I think there's a couple of points where, and it's bizarre because there's one point where I actually came top in this interview, like rank, and I still didn't accept that as validation, that I was acceptable at my level, if that makes
I love
sense.
that you've come top and you're like, no, it's still not even acceptable.
Well, I did, and it's not that I necessarily didn't take it in. It was just, it was a fact that it didn't kind of hit, didn't kind of register.
Yeah.
I think probably getting older, a bit more matured, like different life priorities. I've had a couple of moments where I actually thought, no, I did really well. And so I think that really helped move me out of that frame of mind.
At what point did you start introducing yourself as a doctor? Because in my head, you're Dr. Sonia. I'm like,
But do you know what's really interesting about it? I think part of it is because being a doctor is such a strong identity, like such a strong professional identity,
hmm,
right? You never go, hey, this is so and so from HR or whatever it is. It's
true.
Sonia, she's a doctor. And like literally so many of my friends just go, oh, it's the doctor whenever I turn up to
Oh,
events.
okay, interesting.
And so I think there was a little bit of like because most of my friends that I hang out with regularly aren't medical.
Mm,
And I think I kind of found it really hard to wear that kind of
hmm.
badge essentially. So I would say actually, COVID was quite a big turning point in that, I think. I think it was like the first time where people started being saying nice things about the medical profession because a lot of the time we are faced with vitriol of you're not working too hard, you're like being paid too much, like all that kind of stuff. And so I think COVID was the first time where I actually felt like I was doing something meaningful. And then I think there's a few occasions where I had people I know contact me saying, we just need a doctor that we can rely on. Could you just come and man our clinic? That was quite reaffirming for me as well, because again, like the external validation,
Mm.
that I think is when I started to be able to understand that, well, other people think I'm okay, so maybe I am okay. So I think moving forwards from that, I think that was a bit like, okay, now I'm actually really happy to tell people I'm a doctor. So it was a journey.
You're so right, though. Like the doctor being such a part of your identity. Although, ironically, there are so many people on Instagram who extol medical advice with absolutely no medical qualifications whatsoever. But it's when you choose your like Ms., Mrs., Mr., whatever, like doctor is
Mm,
a part of that. And so it
mm.
doesn't just sort of, as you say, like you can't just be like, I'm Bob from HR. That's, yeah, I'd not really considered that before.
It is funny. Even when I was dating, I found it really hard to tell people that I was a doctor.
Phew.
Yeah, because everyone has a doctor story, whether
Right.
that's like my grandma
Okay.
was in hospital or like I went to my GP or I can't get an appointment with my GP, and it's just like we're on a date. I don't need to know your kind of medical
Yes,
history.
sir, the medical history
Yeah.
is. Yeah, again, never, it's not something I'd ever considered. I mean, not being a doctor myself, but yeah, fascinating. Would you define yourself as successful now?
I think I'm very happy now. Now see that as like, well, I see that as a marker of
Mm,
success. I think I'm a little bit prone to the green-eyed monster. So I think there's always something that I feel like I haven't quite achieved. But I am really proud of myself and I'm
amazing.
really proud of my achievements.
Good. So you should be, right? What you've done is incredible. I remember the first time we met on another Emily Merg retreat, you were telling me about some work you were doing in Japan, educating young women on their bodies. And I just remember for you, and you are who you are and you do what you do, it's sort of
Mm.
almost second nature. And then to someone like me, I'm like, whoa, that's amazing. And you're like, no, I just go every summer and teach in this university. And
Yeah.
it's all relative, right? For me, I'm like, whoa, that's amazing.
Yeah. So I think it's just because, as I said, I absolutely love the human body. I just think it's amazing. And so I'm really happy to give all the information about how amazing the body is in general. I do feel quite lucky in the sense that I do have really good networks.
Mm,
I do pride myself as being quite a good friend. And I think it's one of those things that when you elevate other people elevate you as well. Both of those opportunities, well, I had those two separate opportunities. One was like, as you said, these young ladies who wanted to know more, learn more about the body and the periods. And then that was a one-off event just after COVID. And then now I go back to Japan every single year and teach at a high school. Technically, it's medical stuff, but the real kind of message that we're giving is it's okay to fail because you've got a whole bunch of 16-year-olds who are like very high achieving, all from like nice backgrounds who probably have never understood the concept that failing is okay. So we talk a lot about when we failed and actually look at us, we're doing okay. So that's been a really amazing experience. But both of those experiences were from people who were like, I think you'd be great for this job. So yeah, it was really, really lovely. I
that's
loved it.
amazing. We've known each other for a while. I did not know you were
Yeah.
doing that, but that must be an incredibly rewarding thing to do. But also, I imagine quite tough.
I genuinely recommend it because it is hilarious for a start. 16-year-olds are hilarious.
Yeah.
They're so sharp, they're so funny. I don't particularly count myself as maternal. I don't really have much of a maternal vibe to me. But when you have all these like 16-year-olds that over the 5 days kind of really open up and become more themselves, especially in kind of Japanese culture because everyone's quite reserved.
Mm.
Japanese teaching is very didactic. It's like very much the teacher teaches you. And what we encourage on this is like people to talk for themselves, have an opinion. Doesn't matter what the opinion is, but we're trying to get everyone out of their comfort zone. And it's all done in English, so in a second language as well. So we're just getting them to like, even if they ask one question, I don't care if they're not listening to my answer. They've asked that question, that kind of thing. So it is really funny. And then also, rather than a test, we have a day where they put on a play. So we put them into separate groups. They come from several schools and we mix them all up. And then they do a play on the last day, like for 3 to 5 minutes. And honestly, they are hilarious. It's so funny and so creative. It's really rewarding. But I think one of my absolute favorite things about this is that we always do like a feedback session after each day. So, what do you learn today? What do you want to do more of tomorrow? And invariably, everyone writes, I want to talk to more boys tomorrow, or I want to talk to more girls tomorrow. And I'm like, God, I was like that when I was 16. Actually, I don't care about social determinants of health or anything like that. What I really care about is like sitting next to the really handsome boy in a
Oh,
class.
I love that.
So it's so cute. It is so
Yeah,
really recommending something like that if you
that
can.
sounds incredible. What challenges have you had to overcome?
So I am definitely someone who's rose tinted glasses when I look back on my past, I
Oh, me
think.
too. God, I'm like, yeah, that was a great challenge at the time. I'm like, I hate this so much.
Yeah. You know about the type one, type two fun, that kind of thing? Like type one
No.
fun is when you're having fun at the time. Type two fun is it's kind of fun. No, it's not fun, but you think it's fun later. Type three fun is like not fun at all. Ever. So I've got a lot of type 2 fun where
Okay,
it was not fun at the time, but I love telling the story about it
great.
afterwards.
Stories are important. Our stories are who we are.
I have a bit of a habit where I think I tend to jump into things without really particularly thinking about it. I've had several occasions where I've traveled abroad and not really thought about what I was doing. So I've had some lots of type 2 fun, like lots of miserable moments, kind of thinking, why have I done this? So I think that's probably my personality is probably the biggest challenge. But then having said that, I think I've had probably more varied experiences than your average person. Reflecting on this the other day, I've had some pretty low lows, but then I'm like,
Mm.
I put myself in those positions. So it's like when you're in like the back end of nowhere and you've been bitten a million times and you don't have any internet, so you can't contact your friends. And like, why did I
You're
do
like,
this to
I
myself?
chose to come here. God
Yeah,
damn it.
I know.
Cursing your past self.
But then, I've lived to tell the tale.
Is there any experience that stands out that you were like, God, that was at the time absolutely dreadful?
Oh, I would say yes. It was like last year, I had to go to Beijing for 6 months for my partner's work. It was just a really miserable experience. It was just not very well looked after. It was just a bit hectic. We
Mm.
weren't included in any decisions, and we ended up coming home rather abruptly. We're given quite an abrupt notice to come home, and that was pretty tough. I think we came back with 2 weeks' notice, I think we were given.
Wow.
And so that was pretty tough. I think my boyfriend asked me the other day, would you do it again? And I was like, yeah, totally.
I love it.
So
Do you
yeah, I
think
think
it
it's
brought the two of you closer together?
yeah,
Yeah.
100% accelerated our relationship.
Amazing. Yeah. Great.
But talking about like jumping in like feet first into everything, I think we flew on our 1 year anniversary.
Wow.
And I think this is a problem I think this is when other people look at me, I think they think I'm quite impulsive. Like
Mm.
something will come up and be like, yeah, great, I'll do it. But I think I mentioned it to you earlier, but I'm an ENFP on the Myers-Briggs. And I think it's for me, it's very much if something feels right,
Yeah.
I know it's right and I know I'll stick to it. So therefore I jump in to do it without hugely thinking about logistics and things like that. So
But do you not think that comes back to how in tune you are with your body? Because it's all intuition, right? And do you
maybe.
think you've honed that as a GP, almost sort of really being able to listen to your body?
I think probably yoga helps
Ah,
especially. I think because yoga takes you out of your head a lot more. So I would say that was probably more it. I think the impulsiveness is just been lifelong. I think I've just learned how to manage it a lot better.
but also this is because we're quite similar and I'm incredibly impulsive. So I'm like, it's not a challenge. It's a fun
It's a
thing. I don't
gift.
think other people around us think it's necessarily fun. Yeah.
I think basically I live most of my life based on what am I going to say to myself on my deathbed. I do get itchy feet if I've been in one place for a really long time, but I do, whenever there's like an opportunity that comes up, like for example, moving to Beijing, my general kind of question I ask myself is like, what's going to give me the bigger life? And if that could be anything. So if you ask me that now, I'd be like staying in London, staying with my friends, building up kind of my network again. That would give me the bigger life. But at that time, it was like move halfway across the world with the guy you met only like 6 months ago.
I really love that question. What is
Great,
going to
isn't it?
give me the bigger life? What a brilliant way to make decisions.
It's a really good question. And you'll be surprised at kind of what your answer is when you ask yourself that question, I think.
I love that. Really love that. Well, that's completely thrown me. I'm now thinking like, well, what is going to give me the bigger life?
Yeah.
And now is not the time. My brain is just running away with me. Yoga, we haven't really talked about it, and this is not
Yeah.
meant to be a yoga podcast, but seems to come up every conversation I have, probably because of the people I surround myself with.
Yeah.
How did you find it, and how has it changed you?
Yeah. So it's been really life defining, actually. So I would say I was a very part-time yogi. I think 2022, I think my mum passed away quite suddenly. And I think I said to myself that year, I'm going to pay for every single course that has ever been on my kind of like agenda. And before that, it was yoga teacher training was always one of those things that was like, if I was getting a bit miserable with work, I'd be Googling teacher
Going to
training
India.
courses. But then I was like, this is it. This is the year I'm going to do it. So I did like an intensive 1 month course. And then I started going to yoga classes at Tri Yoga at the time.
Mm.
I managed to find a clinic that would release me for 2 hours on a Tuesday morning so I could go to Marcus's class.
Amazing.
There's nothing better, if you're worried about commitment of going to classes, there's nothing better than being released from work to go because it's either work or yoga. I'm not going to yoga.
I
Um,
love that.
so I did that for a year and then got stronger, got more confident, more flexible. I was terrible when I started. I could barely touch my toes.
Mm,
So I've been doing that, it must be like 3 years now. And I would say the nice thing about it is that I am now, I'd say like the yoga community was quite a big part of my
mm,
friendship groups. You know what it's like. You go to a yoga studio and suddenly you're like, hi, 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 hi to everyone.
yeah.
I haven't been to a retreat for a while, but obviously a lot of my yoga friends have met, including yourself, through like yoga retreats. Yeah, it's just a really nice community to be part of. And also, I would say that as you get older, so I'm 43 now, but most of my friends have moved out of London. It's your social network gets a lot smaller. And one of the things that we do know is that having a good social network and like good social connections is really good for your health. I would say it's probably underestimated how good it is for your health. And so it's been really nice to then have another friendship group that I can rely on. And actually, I love hanging out with all my yoga friends.
Yeah. Because also, I think that for me, like you and I would never have met if it wasn't for yoga. And
Right.
I meet people from such different walks of life through
Yes,
yoga. And as you say, it's so rare that as adults we make new friends.
exactly.
And actually, I don't know, this is where I was about to say something, and I was like, Jesus, I'm talking to a doctor, I better not say that. But like, there
Go
must
on.
be something to do with like keeping the neural pathways like
It is.
fresh. See? Okay, I wasn't okay. I'm
It
just like
really
making
is.
shit up.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's meant to be like to do the feel good vibes, but also it's like obviously to have a conversation, you need to have neural pathways like developing and things like that. So it's about keeping you active. And normally you're going out to see your friends as well. So there's
Mm,
like a multi kind of layered thing on that why it's beneficial to you.
I
Well
love
done.
that.
Thanks.
Thanks, Tick. I'm gonna put that in my yeah. I didn't make up things. I'd make up a lot of stuff often. So
Yeah,
like I'm really glad I didn't make that one up. What advice would you give your younger self?
just chill out.
Really?
It's genuinely just chill out. It's like, why are you so uptight?
Yeah, I can resonate with that for sure.
Yeah, I think one of the things I probably would have said to myself in 20s was just being the best doesn't matter, actually. If being second, third, fourth, fifth, or 1,000 doesn't matter if what you're giving up is your happiness. So
Mm,
much better to prioritize that. And I think one of the things, again, that I'm quite proud of myself is I do have really good friendships. And I kind of want to give myself a pat on the back for maintaining those through my 20s, 30s, and now my 40s as well. My best friend I've known since I was 11. And I think that's really important. So, yeah, but I would definitely say chill out. Nothing actually matters.
yeah, just stay alive and everything will be okay.
Exactly.
Yeah. I think just on that friendship thing, especially with the amount you've lived abroad, I
Mm.
think it can be really, really hard. How do you make sure that you keep those ties?
I apparently am very good at staying in contact. I do have a habit of being quite abrupt, I think, in the sense that if I see something that reminds me of someone, even if I haven't seen them for like several years, I don't care. I'm texting you, hey, saw this, thought of you, how are you? And then I'll just disappear, kind of thing.
I
And
love that though.
but it is nice, right? When people tell you that they're thinking of you.
Yeah.
So I do have a habit of just like rocking up to stuff. I also am not that offended if like I don't get invited to things or whatever it is. Most like text messages I get back nowadays is where in the world are you? Which I always find quite hilarious as well.
She's back in
Um,
London, guys. She's back.
yeah, exactly. I guess it's just having chosen people who are not
Mm.
precious about things like that as well. I'll disappear off for like 3 months. They'll come and visit me sometimes, sometimes they won't. But I think also just not holding a grudge or being, oh, you didn't contact me. It's like people are busy. I guess that's kind of one of the things.
I think the key word there is choosing people. I
Yes.
think intentionally surrounding yourself with the right people. They say that it's such a cliche, but like you are the sum total of the five people you spend all your time. It's so true.
Right.
You spend your time with a bunch of drains,
Yeah.
then of course you're going to be a drain. Like it's exhausting
Uh,
unless you're the sunshine in the room and they're all just, or what is it? Someone said to me the other day, an energy vampire.
yeah. A fun
Actually,
sponge.
exactly. So yeah, being very intentional about who you choose.
Yeah. Did you find that during COVID as well? Like I found that kind of my bandwidth was so small that I only wanted to hang out with a certain select
Yes,
number of people. And I think the lesson to that was these are the people that you want to be spending your time with.
absolutely. And I think it got to the point where I was like basically just talking to the same four people all the time, and that was it. Because I was like, this is all I've got time for, which not time for, but energy for.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
100%. And even now, post COVID, my circle is so much smaller than it was, and I'm absolutely delighted about that. Great. Means I've got much more energy to give to those people who matter.
Right. And also, I think maybe again, it's like a getting an older thing, but I like spending a lot of time by myself as
Yeah, me
well.
too.
And I love it when people cancel on me
It's
left.
such a gift. It's such a gift.
Snuggle
Delighted.
together.
Can have a cup of tea and go to bed at 9. Can't wait.
Exactly. Amazing. Best night ever.
Yeah. Yeah. Everyone out there, if you need to cancel on Sonia or I, we give you permission.
Rocking it.
What's the weirdest thing you've ever done?
I knew this question was coming, and I still haven't prepared myself for it.
Great. We'll do it on the fly. Even better.
Yeah, so I definitely think it is my impulsiveness. I definitely think it is that thing where people probably think I'm a bit bonkers from that
Yeah.
perspective. I mean, the thing is that because I'm a doctor, there is a lot of weird stuff that I've had to do just to do with work, which I don't know if I can share on live podcast, but do you know what I mean? There's a lot
Yeah.
of stuff that I don't think should be for public consumption. Yeah, honestly, I really don't know. I really don't know the answer to that one.
We'll take the impulsiveness. I don't necessarily think that's weird because again, as I said, I think I'm quite similar. I think everyone's got their own definition, haven't they? And I think it's also your tolerance of like normal. And I guess for
Yeah.
you, having seen what you've seen in various clinics around the world,
Yeah.
everything's normal at this point.
And I think being a GP now for like probably 8 or 9 years is you realize that people are really weird. Like
I
people are
love that.
really weird. And so obviously my role is to take in whatever is their anxiety or kind of whatever it is, and then reflect it back on them and be like, these are the bits that you need to worry about and these are the bits that you don't. But you just see such a huge spectrum of people. And I think one of the sort of things in training where I really struggled, it was like, I have a particular view on the world. I have a particular view on how you should see your body and all that kind of stuff. And then flipping that. So it's like you are allowed to have a view on this, however weird it is. And I will just take that in. So I think kind of again, my boundaries have just really shifted. And I do notice that sometimes when I'm out with my friends who are non-medics and someone weird will come along and I can entertain them for so much longer. And my friends have already left because they're like, this is really odd.
You're there just like, yep, so tell me more. Yeah,
No,
great.
honestly. I'm
That's why
like,
you're a good coach. Just
keep
like,
talking to me about
say
how
more.
yeah, But I think that is my kind of takeaway from being a GP is like the inner workings of people's minds are bonkers.
I love that. But isn't that such a relief to know that
Yes.
everyone is completely insane and great?
Yeah,
Like we're just presenting this mask to the world that we're
absolutely.
normal, whatever normal means.
Sometimes I'm like, how did you get from A to like Z in that of time?
If there was one piece of health advice that everyone should adhere to, what would it be?
I would say that health shouldn't be punishing.
I love
Um,
that.
there are certain times where maybe you need to do less of something, but more of something. But I would have to say that it shouldn't have to be painful. It shouldn't be punishing. There should be no shame in it. I really encourage people to add things to their lives rather than taking things away. Things like having friends, working on your friendships, like
Mm,
having more fiber in your diet, having more protein, but kind of like the right amount of protein. And kind of life should be joyous. And also going back to the whole idea that you're going to be sitting on your deathbed at some point,
mm,
you don't want to be thinking about your health journey as being miserable. Do you know what I mean? It's
yeah.
like being healthy is important, but having fun is also important as well. I mean, if you're going to sacrifice a few years for that, fine. But also, your body is an incredible thing. It will keep telling you what it needs. You just need to really listen to that interoception, and yeah, just trust it.
Mm.
I think those would be my main pieces of advice. And don't smoke.
Okay, no smoking.
Yeah.
So, working with you then, like, what does that look like? Sounds like it's a lot of fun. From what I've just heard, I get to you prescribe me joy and friendship and just have a good time.
Exactly.
Great.
Exactly. I think it just shouldn't be hard. And also, you're never going to build Rome in a day as well, right? So
Right. Okay.
I hate these 30-day challenges and
Mm.
these really super extreme keto diets and stuff. I think with keto diets, they say that actually even motivated people, only 65% actually manage to continue with the keto diet. It's just
Wow.
so miserable. But when you think of blue zones and stuff, you don't particularly think of like people on supplements and eating
Yeah.
a really restrictive diet. You're thinking of people who are like on outside eating like with their family and friends and like being active every single day and walking up hills with their friends and that kind of thing. So that I think that's a life that I want to lead and that's a life that I want to encourage people to lead. But as I said, I feel that lots of people are very misinformed. So there's it's almost, I guess, what I find as being a GP is a lot of the time I'm actually just giving people permission to let go of stuff. It's just like, you don't need to worry about that. Just leave it alone. And you just see the relief on people's faces. It's like, oh, thank God. Yeah, I think working with me I think I'm quite fun.
Hmm.
I will tell you how it is. I can be quite direct as well. I've been told quite a few times I've got quite a direct nature. So
Surely that's helpful, right? Everyone just wants to know this is where we're at.
yeah, I mean, there are sensitive souls in these worlds, and maybe they're
Ah,
not
well.
the best for me. Yeah. One of the things I find really interesting is just because of the work that I am doing, I do spend a lot of time on social media,
Mm.
and I do actually quite enjoy a lot of the health fads. And I do quite like it when my patients come in and they ask me for something ridiculous, and I can tell them why this is ridiculous.
Can you
Um,
give us an example of ridiculousness?
so my favorite at the moment is probably cortisol.
Right, like the cortisol diet.
I don't even know what the cortisol diet is, but like
Neither do I, but I feel like it's all over my Instagram. It's telling me I
I'm
should be on a cortisol
I'm
diet.
sure someone's come up with something. Kind of cortisol is only one of your stress responses.
Interesting.
Actually, your level of cortisol, and also cortisol is a dynamic hormone as well, so it's designed to spike. If it doesn't spike, you would collapse every single time you stood up. So I don't understand why cortisol spikes are being vilified.
Right.
I would say that if you're stressed all the time, then your overall cortisol levels will be increased, but also all your other stress responses will be increased as well. So I'm more interested in hearing about the stress than doing your blood test. And I think a lot of the time, what I find funny is people are always asking for scans and blood tests and stuff. And I think we're such a data-driven society
Mm.
that, again, going back to the trusting yourself thing, I had a lady who came in with depression. And I think we were talking about going on to antidepressants and stuff. And she was like, "Do you think I could get a scan so I can see my before and after?" And I was just like, "You just tell me your before and after. You just tell me
Yeah, we'll
how
talk
you're
about it.
feeling."
What
Yeah,
would the
that.
scan have shown?
So I don't think she necessarily knew
Got
either.
it.
I
Okay.
think it was just the fact that she wanted to have data that she was improving and that there was more neurotransmitters like serotonin in her brain.
Yeah.
It was, I was like, hey, if I could offer you that on the NHS, that would be amazing. But regardless, totally
Yeah.
useless. Allergy test is another one as well. Totally useless.
Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, it's a lot of it is like debunking, which I quite enjoy.
Great. It's almost like there's a myth busting section that we need
It's
from Dr.
great.
Sonia.
Yeah, and I find it hilarious because I know where it's coming from now. Because I think before I just used to get irritated by it, but now because I spend a lot of time on social media and I see the narrative,
Hmm.
okay, this is just you not knowing what's happening in your body.
Do you sort of see the trends coming and then you're like, oh no, I'm about to get hit with a load of people who think that like they need to sting themselves with wasp venom or something and that'll reduce their aging by 10 years. And you're like, oh, here we go, it's coming in.
I don't think I'm good enough at social media for
Oh, fair enough.
that.
Yeah, to be fair, that would require like really being able to see the trends, which I can't do either. But yeah, I just was wondering if like you could just be like, oh no, right, this is the summer of the wasp or something.
Sometimes my algorithms will come up, and then when someone asks me about it later, I'm like, yes, I'm ready.
I know where this has come from.
Exactly.
So tell us about September, the
So
launch. How do
September.
we find you? Obviously, we'll put all your links in the show notes and whatnot. But yeah, tell us, how do we find
Yes.
you?
So it is, I'm just beta testing at the moment. So
Amazing.
I've not fully finalized my program. The likelihood is that it's going to be like a 50-minute like a discovery call that I'll do for free. The thing with that is that I need to know that this is something that I can work with. So, for example, if you're looking purely for nutritional advice, you're probably better off going to a nutritionist, of which I can signpost you to a couple. But if it's something that I feel that I can work with, then I'll book a full call. What I probably will also do is then organise some blood tests as well, like either like a home kit or I'll organise a clinic to do your blood tests if it's necessary. You may have blood tests already, and then we would spend an hour and I will go through everything. So I'll go through your sleep patterns, I'll go through your eating habits, all that kind of stuff. I'll come up with a personalized plan. You'll get to go home with that. And most likely a follow-up phone call or like a follow-up appointment, like much shorter, maybe 20, 30 minutes, just to see how you're doing. So I think that I'm going to be selling that as an entire package. And as I said, it'll be two strands. So one would be like a diagnosis companion. You already have a diagnosis. Let's say it's PCOS or whatever it is, maybe diabetes, pre-diabetes, whatever. And I will walk you through that. And then the other service I'm thinking of is maybe, and again, this is something that happened to me, is when my parents passed away, I had this sudden sort of fixation on mortality.
Mm.
You know, my mum had a lot of autoimmune conditions, my dad had diabetes. You do suddenly kind of, oh God, I need to look at my health. One of the things that we do know is that even if you had a very unhealthy 20s and 30s, you can kind of get away with it. If you really tighten up in your 40s, you can have a very long, successful, healthy life. So it's about capturing that moment of, okay, what do I need to do now to prevent my dementia, prevent my diabetes, prevent my heart attacks, etc. So I think that's the second program that I'll be doing. In terms of how to find me, so I'm on Instagram as the Midlife Health Coach. I'm also on Substack as the Midlife Health Coach. Again, I might rebrand, so if I do, I'll send you details and then you can
Great.
put it in the
Yep.
show notes. But at the moment, I can't really talk about it, but the clinic venue looks amazing.
Amazing.
I'm a little bit
Okay.
excited, but I don't want to get overexcited in
Okay.
case it doesn't happen, but if it is.
Well, let's manifest it. It's going to happen. Yeah, it's going to be
Definitely,
fantastic.
definitely, every day. Talking about manifestations, the manifestation that I'm doing at the moment is like, I just want Sixth Sense Ibiza just to phone, like, give me a phone call and invite me for something.
Okay, Sixth Sense. We know you're listening. Tap Dr. Sonia up.
I know. I think I need to work a little bit harder to get that invite, but it's on my
Hey, this is what we're
throwing it
doing
out
right
there to the
now. Come
universe.
on, let's go. Come on, Sixth Sense. Let's go. Does it have to be Ibiza or can it be any of the six senses? Is
I
that
think Ibiza would be like
okay?
the one.
Would you take another Sixth Sense to
I
get to
would.
Ibiza? Yes,
Yes, I
we're not
would
going to rule
definitely.
any of them out.
No,
Okay.
definitely not. Anyone.
I love it. What a great manifestation. This is coming. I feel it. Well, I look forward to hearing from Sixth Sense and you when you're
Yes.
there. I look forward to
Yeah.
seeing the Instagram posts.
And also just let you know, I plan to do like online consultations as well. So the
Anywhere in the
beauty,
world.
exactly, the beauty of being able to have your like kit sent to your house to do your blood test is the fact that you don't have to go anywhere. So if you're not located in London, it's not a really big deal.
Anything else that we have not covered?
Hmm. Not that I can think of, apart from this has been really good fun.
Fun. Thanks so much
Yeah.
for chatting to us. I've learned so much. Also, like I'm sitting here and you're going, yeah, allergy tests are a waste of time. And I'm like, yep, definitely done one of those. And you're like, pre-diabetes. And I'm like, yeah, I definitely just decided to test myself for pre-diabetes last year. Like, we should chat more because you'd save me a hell of a lot of
I
money.
know,
I think
I
that is
know.
also the thing, actually, though, just to finish on this,
Mm,
actually working with you,
mm,
that you will take away a lot of the fear. And because I
yeah,
spent a fortune on like,
yeah.
a lot of random crap, if we're honest. And
Yeah.
actually, just being able to talk to someone who is genuinely medically qualified
Mm.
is huge.
And I guess also the other thing is that because I've got one foot in the well-being industry and I've got one foot obviously in the medical world, is that I feel like I cross over quite easily.
Yeah.
In the sense, as I said, I tend to be more holistic. I know what the well-being trends are. Some of them I'm like, oh, I'm okay, I don't want that. Some of it I'm like, well, it's not going to do you any harm, so why not, kind of thing. Or alternatively, for myself, I'm really into acupuncture and yoga movement. There are things that I will do for myself that I know on the terms of bodies of evidence is probably not as strong as some of the stuff that I'd practice in my NHS. But actually, it doesn't do me any harm. I get benefit from it. And I think that is equally as important as well as having something that's got like 30 years worth of like randomized control trials or whatever it is.
Mm.
So I think that's probably where I would differ from a lot of other doctors is just that ability to kind of span both.
And have the discernment to say you have actually read the studies and you can go, do you know
Yeah.
what? Yeah, like this may or may not work for you, but actually for you it might make you feel better. So I think that's huge.
And also, just to say, this is a fact that I found out the other day and I'm horrified. But apparently, if you pay enough money, you can get any research published. Just because someone says there is research to show does not mean that it's a well done research project. And therefore, you actually need to learn how to look at a project or research and be able to pick out why this was a good study and why it wasn't a good study as well. So I think that's something, because I think that's a fairly recentish transition. I think that's something that people are going to have to learn if you want to have good medical advice, good health advice,
There we go.
fortunately.
We'll finish on that bombshell. Thanks so much for chatting to us. It's been so lovely. I've learnt
It's really
loads.
nice. Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening to today's episode, and thank you so much to Sonia for joining us. Sonia's candidness about her evolution from seeking external validation in her 20s to now defining success as living meaningfully and being aligned with your own values is something that I think will resonate with many of us. Her insight that health shouldn't be punishing is something I think we all need to hear more often and is definitely music to my ears. In a world of 30-day challenges and extreme diets, she's advocating for joy, friendship, and actually trusting the incredible machine that is our body. I also love her approach to decision making. What's going to give me a bigger life? What a brilliant question to ask ourselves when we're facing choices, whether that's moving halfway across the world or simply deciding how to spend our evening. I'm definitely going to be using this one in the future. Sonia launches her health optimization practice in September, offering both diagnosis companion services and longevity-focused consultations. You can find her on Instagram and Substack as the Midlife Health Coach. We'll put all links in the show notes. And who knows, maybe we'll see her at a Six Senses retreat soon. The biggest takeaway for me is that sometimes the most radical thing we can do is simply to trust ourselves, whether that's trusting our body signals, our gut instincts, or our own definition of what success looks like. Thanks for the reminder, Sonia. If this conversation sparked something for you, I want to hear about it. Send me your thoughts, your questions, your holy shit, that is exactly what I'm going through moments, whatever's on your mind. Drop me a line at successfulafpod@gmail.com. And here's the thing, I am always looking for incredible people to feature on this show. Those who've broken the mold, redefined success on their own terms, or are just in the thick of that transformation right now. If that's you or someone you know, don't be shy. Nominate them or yourself at successfulafpod@gmail.com. Also, do me a solid and subscribe. Maybe even write me a review and send it on to your mates. Because the more stories we share, the more we can prove that there is not just one way to be successful AF. Thank you.